crab monster. I said, team built this puppet, and each shot takes 2 weeks.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to my Star Wars Skeleton Crew Episode 6 review/breakdown video. We are going to be discussing a number of different references, things that you guys might have missed throughout the episode, as well, of course, Easter eggs in the episode. We, of course, are going to go ahead. We're going to hop right on into it, kind of break it all down for you guys with everything that we know and everything that we're anticipating right now. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Make sure you hit that notification bell as well to be notified for when we have new videos dropping here on the channel almost daily. There is a lot of Star Wars news and stuff going around. It can be a lot to keep track of. It's exactly why we are here. Not just to keep you guys updated with everything, but also break it down for you guys and get a better understanding. As always, I really appreciate all of the support. Okay, so of course I think it should go without saying that yes, there are spoilers ahead for the 6th episode of Skeleton Crew, so if you haven't watched the show, haven't given it a chance, definitely go check it out. I think it's honestly been really great, very much of a fun show, and definitely probably one of the better projects that we have seen in the recent For a Galaxy Far, Far Away. That being kept also in mind. Also check out our reaction video, which are initial thoughts, kind of reaction to the episode here out on the channel as well. The 6th episode of Skeleton Crew is a bit of a mixed bag. Much of what we get is great, with some surprisingly emotional character beats as the highlight of the episode. However, the plot fails to really take off in the manner that many were hoping for it would, especially after last week's cliffhanger ending with episode 5. Plot-wise, the episode, titled Zero Friends Again, is chiefly concerned with getting the kids off planet so everyone can get back to Aten for the climatic finale, which would see and mean that momentum has to slow down a bit, again to fill out the 30 minutes of story, when the only goal is for the kids to actually get to their ship and maybe get off of the planet. Some disagreements and bickering along the way means that they end up pairing off. While the pacing is a bit of a problem for this episode, it uses that time to give us some really good character beats, or otherwise development in other words, and finally getting to know a little bit more of these kids. We've seen Neil get some attention on at Archerin. Wim had to deal with the realization that adventuring isn't all that it's really cracked up to be thus far, and Fern is learning how to work with others, of course. But makes no mistake, KB is the emotional core of this episode, as her character finally gets some attention and a bit of the spotlight. Her big moment is remarkably sympathetic, and we found ourselves swelling up in a little bit of a particular scene, of course. Bryce Dallas Howard, the director of today's episode, the veteran Star Wars director attached to this week's episode, makes the most of what she has to work with, which isn't much in the story in that sense. While the emotional beats ring true, there's not much else particularly exciting about this episode. Sure, the ending does get tense, and would never say that we got bored of that, but the content of this episode doesn't quite measure up with what we were teased at the end of episode 5, and for it to really, have something a little bit more. Turning out what was a wonderful sound of a lightsaber thrumming after the cut to black was quite a cheap tease in the end of episode 5, and seeing nothing really pay off in episode 6 from that, or at least yet, is a bit of a disappointment for many fans. This episode ends up being a table setter and padding for the final 2 episodes as well, which is sad to think about that we're already 2 episodes away from the show's conclusion. The emotional character beats were great, but otherwise we don't think that this was be more of a memorable episode of Skeleton Crew, and if for anything, isn't one of the best, of course. The episode kicking off with the kids sliding down the tubes, landing at the bottom of the mountain where the leisure complex dumps all of their trash. They immediately argue about the best way to get back up to their ship, with Fern and Wim at the loggerheads once more. Fern wants to climb straight back up to the mountain, while Wim wants to follow these crab species to see if they can help them get a way back up. Both are terrible plans, to say the least. Wim's naivety is exposed when the crab droid things lead him and KB to a giant eating monster kind of crab thing, while Fern's plan would certainly have gotten KB killed, and they end up splitting off into the 2 pairs. Like, KB knows that she wouldn't be able to make it, and her battery is laying low, is something that we learn most about in this episode. KB is rightly frustrated with Fern, who insists on climbing, even when KB mentions that one of the parts in her headset is corroding. Maybe KB could have better explained the consequences of that to her friend, but to her point, it doesn't seem like Fern is really listening or interested interested in all that much. It seems like she really hasn't, seen KB for who she really is for some time, assuming that she's the same friend that she's always had been, which is kind of in some ways when actually she should be more concerned for her friend with a disability. And for her part, Firm seems to learn this in the episode goes on, when Neil points out that his psychology is different and he can't climb as well as she can. She offers him a rope, slows down, and talks him through step by step, having to slow down and help others rather than just plunging ahead and challenging them keep up. Helps her realize that she should have listened to her friend KB before. KB's journey with Wim is by far the best part of the episode. I like Jod's part a lot more too. After walking a short distance, her motor skills start to fall and she sits down. She explains to Wim that since her incident, the headset is what keeps her from essentially being paralyzed. What this incident was is something that a lot of fans are very honestly intrigued with and want to know a little bit more about. If the corroded part is not replaced immediately, then she will shut down and probably die for anything on this strange planet. Luckily, she's already scavenged the part that she needs, and she's able to guide Wim through the process as he frantically does his best to help save her. We well liked up the tears when she explained her disability a bit more, pointing out that although Fern is being nice by acting as though her disability just isn't a thing, it has the effect of making KB feel unseen at the same time. She hasn't felt as though her best friend is really listening to her for quite some time and would like her to acknowledge that she does need a bit more care and attention and help with things. It ends up being a wonderful bonding moment for her and Wim, and later on in the episode as well for the rest of the group. She jokingly calls him a Jedi when pointing out he had saved her life and that he learned an important lesson that there are a plenty of ways to be a hero without being a swashbuckling adventurer. The final set piece with Fern and Neil commandeering one or two craft flying onto the Onyx Cinder and flying low to rescue KB and Wim from the giant crab was also a very highlight and fun part of the episode. The following sequence where they figure out how to get to the ship free of crawling machine threatening to tear them to shreds was also a bit tense, but come on, you know what's going to happen. You know they're going to get out of it and be fine. Even if it lacked stakes a little bit, it was quite obvious that they'd find some way to fly out. Maybe I wasn't anticipating for them to fly out in that manner, like the shell, outside shell of the ship essentially just kind of came off, which is pretty intriguing and kind of interesting, and I'm kind of curious to know more about that. Meanwhile, Jod immediately gets captured by the pirates and is taken to Captain Brutus back at Port Porgo. The lightsaber is taken away from him immediately also, so do take that into consideration, and we don't get much more of a payoff for the tease at the end of last week's episode when it comes to the lightsaber. We're sure that we'll see that lightsaber again, but it was a bit disappointing. I had hoped that Jod's story would also have him hunting the kids down a bit more in this episode, but the creators clearly wanted to leave that emotional cliffhanger unresolved for a couple of episodes until we come back around to it. But we're not quite sure of what we got here was better than that. He has to rely on his charm once more when he's given the opportunity to kind of appeal his sentence of the death by airlock. He manages to delay his sentence by persuading them to come to Aten and get those Old Republic credit molds. And we also would suspect that the show has seeded a mutiny against Brutus here. Jude Law gets to flex his acting muscles a bit more in what is an impressive monologue, but otherwise Jod doesn't have much to do this week, but I did enjoy most of that part of this episode. The episode does conclude with both the kids and the pirates heading towards Aten, and now it seems that they're in quite for a bit of a race, where they'll surely reunite with one another. This wasn't a very memorable episode by any means, emotional beats aside, but it sets up for an intriguing scenario for the final two episodes of Skeleton Crew. Let me know what you guys are all thinking in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been an unofficial Star Wars. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Different theories as well. I'm all ears. Let's discuss. I love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Also, leave a like on the video as it really does help out the channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure you also check out our merch shop. Use our codes Ahsoka in all caps to get some cash off of your orders. I also have some Amazon affiliate links in the description down below, so if you're looking to buy something from Amazon, whether it's a gift or something for yourself, check out our available links in the description down below. It helps out the channel at no additional cost of yourself and really means a lot. I'll continue to keep those links updated so they're always changing, so make sure you check them out for what new products we may have available. With whatever way you decide to support the channel, whether it's simply watching today's video or even purchasing a product, it means the absolute world to me. So thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the force be with you as always. Peace out.
Goodbye, old friend. May the force be with you.